Hello, lovelies. It's Alexa with Bluewoods Design, and Sunday art prompt this week is a video prompt. And so I have created this fun art journal page with a beautiful girl on it. And I'm going to walk you through some of the steps. Right now, I am just spreading gesso on my page. I did cut my camera there and dry it. You could let it dry naturally, or you could use a heat tool. I always use a heat tool because, you know, I'm impatient. And then I go and I add some masking tape. If you've never used masking tape in your work, it's super fun. I do tend to use my matte medium to help hold that down. And even with the matte medium, you'll see later, I end up grabbing a glue stick at one point because part of it is peeling up. So masking tape is super fun to use, but you might want to extra secure that to your page. Then I just threw some book pages on there as well, and I dried that with a heat tool. Now I grabbed a stencil and some Dilutions spray and sprayed through the stencil. Now I am grabbing some fluid acrylic. These are, high flow acrylic. These are the golden high flow. And a stencil. So I'm wetting them, letting them drip all over. Then I'm using a stencil, and I'm not using a baby wipe. If I used a baby wipe, it might pick up more precisely, but I'm just using like kind of a wet paper towel because I really did want just sort of that, it's almost like a ghost image because once that water is there, it still sort of morphs back. So you get a little bit of texture, but not like a precise image. Now I am using some matte medium on top. The reason for this is because the dilution spray definitely reactivates. So if I were to draw on it and then use water, it would move all over the place, which sometimes you want, sometimes you don't. And same even with those fluid acrylics or those high flow acrylics, every now and then I get them they move a little bit on me. So sealing it in is always a great option if you don't want the background to move. Then I just threw a little gesso on there sort of to push it back because I knew I was going to make a focal point, which, surprise, surprise, I'm making a face. And I am just going to sketch my face, and I am using a Stabilo all pencil. I'm going to say one of my favorite tools, but probably my actually favorite tool. It probably is like on the top, number one. Mainly because I can activate it. And I know a lot of people talk about activating it and but I also know that people talk about when they activate it, it gets really, really messy and how do you have enough but not too much and not make a mess? So I really tend to approach it like, here's another part. So I started doing something with the hair and I was like, last time I did a video, I did the hair like that. So the great thing about having sealed in my background and now using Stabilo is I can wipe it off with just a wet paper towel and erase basically with it. See, there's where I'm gluing down that tape. It was peeling up a little bit. No worries. So I decided to give her some different hair because I've been doing, I've just been in like a similar feel of hair. So I wanted to do something a little different. So what I was saying about the Stabilo all is I know some people feel like, oh my gosh, when I use it, it just goes everywhere. And as you can see, when you wet it, it really does get highly pigmented. It does move really a lot. Now here's again, another reason it's great to seal in your work there is I took a wet paper towel because I wanted to wipe some of that away. So number one, use your brush like a watercolor, when you're using your Stabilo, right? So if it gets really out of hand, you can use your Stabilo or your water brush or your just regular paintbrush with water on it to kind of push that back again. And trust me, I go back and forth, and here I am using a wet Stabilo. I dip it just a little bit, get the tip of it wet, and then I can draw and it gets really a dark pigment, right? And then I'll come through and wet it again. And I do this dance back and forth a bunch of times because it starts to make all those different layers of color. And if you notice, this is why it's just like watercolor. I put a little bit in the corner and then I use my brush to spread it out and push it back. So definitely try your Stabilo all. And if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, it just makes a big black mess, then I would say to use your paintbrush to push those things back where you want them. Here, I think on the mouth at some point, I start pushing. See right there, I'm like pushing it back. And then I wipe my brush off to the side. When it's sped up like this, it's hard to see, but I do like pick up some of the pigment and wipe my brush off and then come back in. So you can do a lot with it if you're thinking of it like a watercolor almost. And now I'm going to start to have a little bit of fun by framing her out with some gesso. The reason you could use white acrylic, I love gesso just because it does kind of have some of that transparent quality to it where stuff does come through slightly, but it still helps her pop from the background. And then you'll see me, I also do some fun stuff where I use those same golden high flow acrylics and I add it to my gesso and even a little bit of water. And I just start to shade the face with it, which is really fun, and the hair. So it ends up kind of feeling like that was almost part, because it's the same colors that I used for the background, it sort of blends and becomes, wow, that really like just so happened to, get the pigment there, but really you are strategically placing it. So, I like that effect a lot where it still looks like kind of like, oh, maybe the orange was just in her face. And, so I just play around with that and I add a shirt and whatnot. So here's where you'll see me do that last little bit. And then I just finish it off with a little, sentiment and yeah, a couple little hearts and I call her done. All right, you guys, I hope you are inspired to play this week with us. The hashtag to use is Sunday Art Prompt, and this is your prompt. So you could take the same colors, these like pinks and oranges. You could use that. You could do some collaging first with some book pages and masking tape. You could create this actual like start to finish piece that I do. You could just be inspired in any way. You could use your Stabilo all and try out some of what I'm doing. Basically, this video, whatever is grabbing you as something you might want to try, I encourage you to give it a go and share away in our Facebook group as well as on any of your social media channels and just use Sunday Art Prompt so we can see it and tell you how amazing it is. And I hope you guys had fun and maybe picked up some tips along the way. And yeah, hopefully I will be having some more YouTube videos for you than I have been. It's been a crazy busy time, but I promise I'm starting to get back up on my schedule with getting my videos in and stuff like that. So hopefully besides just these Sunday art prompts, I'm hoping to have some more weekly videos for you guys. And I will see you again soon, you guys. Have an awesome creative week, and I can't wait to see what you make.